So, what if the key to this almost magnetic kind of attraction wasn't about being the loudest person in the room, but actually the quietest? Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating internet archetype, the Sigma male. Now, you've probably heard this term pop up in online subcultures, usually part of that whole socio-sexual hierarchy thing with alphas and betas. But look, we're not here to talk about memes or stereotypes. We are deconstructing a very specific theory about attraction and obsession that has gotten a whole lot of traction. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the theory we're exploring. The entire idea really hinges on this one psychological trigger, the incredible power of the unknown. The argument is that this obsession isn't about looks, it's not about status, it's about a very specific kind of psychological tension. So, let's start decoding this thing. The theory we're analyzing frames the Sigma male not as some fixed, rigid personality type, but more as a concept, almost like a psychological puzzle that just completely disrupts our normal patterns of social interaction. And that metaphor, the calm hurricane, is absolutely key here. The theory is really clear on this. Forget the cliche of the guy in the dark hoodie and sunglasses. No, the idea is about a quiet force, someone whose presence alone is said to kind of rearrange the mental furniture of the people around them, creating this deep intrigue without even trying. This brings us right to the first pillar of this theory, the power of what it calls a low-noise identity. I mean, in a world that is constantly screaming for attention, this archetype's power supposedly comes from a profound quietness. This slide just perfectly illustrates the core contrast, doesn't it? On one side, you have what the theory calls typical behavior. Broadcasting achievements, always explaining yourself, looking for that pat on the back. But on the other side, you've got a completely different way of operating. Quiet movement, a total independence from validation, and a focus on actions over words. The claim is that this creates a really powerful psychological contrast. And look, this quiet presence isn't about being shy or passive, not at all. According to the theory, it's about having this internal framework that you live by, you don't talk about. Think of it this way. His standards are felt, they're not heard. His independence is totally authentic, it's not a performance for anyone. He doesn't need to push people away to get space. His own self-possession just naturally creates it. So here's the crucial point. The quietness that's being described here isn't emptiness. The theory suggests it's actually a potent, super concentrated form of presence. It's the very lack of all that unnecessary noise that makes every small action, every word feel way more significant. Okay, so that leads us right into the second major theme in this theory, this idea of emotional scarcity. If his presence is concentrated, then his emotional investment is treated like a rare resource. It's just not available on demand. Now, this is a really key concept. The theory suggests that in a world where, let's be honest, emotional validation can feel kind of cheap or overshared, this archetype operates on a totally different economy. Nothing is given away casually. And because of that, when his attention is given, it feels earned, it feels deliberate, and therefore it feels much, much more valuable. So how exactly is this loyalty earned? Well, the source outlines this three-part dynamic. First, symmetrical investment. Basically, he mirrors the emotional effort he gets back. No more, no less. Second, he's unaffected by threats. That means romantic competition doesn't rattle him, which signals this deep self-possession. And finally, his loyalty is described as deadly precise, incredibly rare and difficult to earn, but once it's granted, it is absolute. And this number 0, it really drives the point home. The theory claims there are 0 emotional concessions. Commitment isn't seen as some reluctant yes or a box you have to check. Instead, it's framed as a mutual discovery, a conscious, deliberate alignment of values, not some prize to be won or a negotiation to be settled. Okay, this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and according to the source, it's the most powerful element of this entire psychological dynamic. The idea that the Sigma male functions as a kind of blank canvas or a psychological mirror. And that is the central question here, isn't it? The theory really pivots from what he is to what he does, to the psychology of the other person. Is the attraction all about solving a mystery, or is it about seeing a reflection of something else entirely? The source actually gives this phenomenon a name: unmonitored desire mode. The idea is that because he doesn't provide the usual social cues, the constant flirting, the chasing, the predictable reactions, the other person's brain just starts to fill in the blanks. They aren't really responding to him anymore. They're responding to the narrative that they are creating about him. And here it is. This is the climax of the entire theory. The ultimate claim is that the obsession isn't with the man himself, but with the idealized version of him that has been projected onto the blank canvas he provides. It's a fascination with a discovery you made yourself, not with the actual person. This quote just nails it. It really captures the essence of this whole thing. While a lot of people present a very carefully crafted persona to the world, this archetype, according to the theory, offers, well, nothing. And it's that very lack of performance that creates the space for this powerful psychological projection to happen. So, to sum it all up, the theory we've explored today says this supposed obsession is a three-part psychological mechanism. It kicks off with the intrigue of a quiet presence, then it's intensified by emotional scarcity, and finally, it's cemented by the blank canvas effect, where attraction becomes this self-generated fixation. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Regardless of whether you buy into this theory or not, the sheer popularity of archetypes like the Sigma male is a phenomenon all on its own. What does our fascination with these kinds of psychological puzzles really tell us about what we value and maybe what we're missing in a world that is so saturated with noise and performance? It's definitely something to think about.